Nobody tells you that falling in love with the right person can still be the wrong decision. It came in pieces small. Quiet pieces I kept finding reasons to ignore. Because I was 36 years old. Successful. And genuinely, embarrassingly happy for the first time in my adult life. Her name was Claire. And for 16 months, I thought she was everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Anthony Marchetti. Tony to everyone who actually knows me. I run a commercial real estate firm just outside Pittsburgh, based in Sewickley. My father, Salvatore, built the business from nothing back in the 90s. I came in at 27 and we scaled it together. And now, it's the kind of operation that makes my grandfather, God rest him, look down and feel satisfied. But money was never the point in our house. Family was the point. We're Italian-American. 3 generations deep in the Pittsburgh area. My parents live in Mount Lebanon, in the house they bought when they got married. Sunday dinners are mandatory, treated with the seriousness of a board meeting. My mother, Carmela, makes braciole from scratch every week. And if you don't take 2 pieces, she takes it personally. My Uncle Dom lives 15 minutes away and never needs an invitation to show up. We are loud, close, and we do not do things halfway. So when I tell you I met Claire at a charity gala in Fox Chapel, and within 3 months I was completely gone over her, understand what that means coming from me. I don't fall fast. I'd dated seriously twice before, and both times ended quietly. The way things end when 2 people realize they want different lives. Claire felt different from the first night. She walked into that gala in a burgundy dress that probably cost more than my first car. Laughed at my Uncle Dom's terrible joke about provolone within 5 minutes of meeting him. Then turned to my mother and genuinely asked about the recipe for the appetizer she'd just eaten. My mother grabbed her arm and talked to her for 40 minutes straight. I stood there watching it happen and thought, oh, so this is how it happens. We dated for 16 months. She met my family early. By month 3, she was at Sunday dinner. By month 5, she knew which chair was Uncle Dom's and never sat in it. My family absorbed her the way Italian families absorb people they like completely. Immediately. And with a lot of food involved. I proposed on the rooftop of the Omni William Penn downtown. A Thursday evening in early autumn. Ring. Flowers. The whole thing. She said yes before I finished asking. My mother cried when I called her. My father said, good. Now bring her to every Sunday dinner so your mother can feed her properly. Uncle Dom somehow already knew. I was happy. Genuinely. Completely happy. And I had absolutely no idea what she was planning. Welcome to Dad's Raw Revenge. Get comfortable. This story is going to take you somewhere. Hit that like button and drop a comment below letting me know where you're watching from. Trust me. You're going to love it here. My parents and I don't have a relationship. She told me one night about 7 weeks in. We were sitting on the couch in her apartment near Shadyside. Takeout containers on the coffee table. Some show on that neither of us was watching. They were really toxic when I was growing up. Controlling. Critical. My dad especially. I had to put serious distance between us just to function as an adult. I even changed my last name on social media to get some breathing room. I looked at her. She wasn't performing it. Her eyes were steady and a little tired. Like someone recounting something they'd processed a long time ago. I'm sorry, I said. Because what else do you say? It's okay. It's just not something I talk about a lot. They won't be at the wedding. I need you to be okay with that. I told her I was okay with it. And I meant it. Because I trusted her. Because she'd given me zero reason not to. What I didn't fully account for was my family. Not that they were hostile toward Claire. But the Marchetti family operates on a specific frequency. And that frequency includes a bone-deep need to know the people connected to the people they love. It's not nosiness. It's not judgment. You understand a person better when you understand where they came from, who raised them, what table they grew up sitting at. By month 12 of our engagement, the silence around Claire's family had started creating its own kind of noise. It came to a head on a Sunday evening in early September. My mother had made her Sunday gravy, the real version, the one that starts before church even lets out. We were all around the table in Mount Lebanon, me, Claire, my parents, Uncle Dom, my cousin Frankie and his wife Angela. Everything was warm and normal until Uncle Dom, operating as he always does, with complete disregard for social timing, put down his fork and looked at Claire. Claire, sweetheart, I gotta ask you something. She smiled. Sure. Dome, where are your people? The table went quiet the way tables go quiet when someone says the thing everyone's been carefully not saying. Claire's smile stayed in place, but her eyes shifted just slightly. My parents and I aren't in contact. I've mentioned that. I know you mentioned it. I'm asking about it. Dom wasn't being cruel. He was being Dom. In our family, and I mean this with love, you don't marry into a family you've never met. Dom, my father's voice. Low. One word. Dom picked up his fork. But the question was already on the table, and no amount of gravy was going to bury it. Later, after Claire had gone home, my father found me in the kitchen. He poured himself a small glass of red and leaned against the counter. She's a good woman, he said. Not a question. She is. I believe you. He nodded slowly. But Tony, we're going to stand in a church. We're going to make promises in front of God and everyone we know. And we're going to do that without knowing a single person from her side. Her parents were toxic. Pop. She had a hard, I hear you. I believe her. He set the glass down. But toxic people still exist somewhere. They have an address. He looked at me steadily. I'm not asking you to fix anything. I'm asking you to know what you're walking into. I didn't say anything. He patted my shoulder once and went back to the dining room. I stood there in my parents' kitchen a long time after that. But here's what I need you to understand. I still wasn't suspicious of Claire. If anything, I was worried about myself. Because the one thought I couldn't shake was this: what if her parents took one look at me and decided I wasn't what they wanted for their daughter? I know how that sounds coming from a guy with a successful business and a family like mine. But Claire existed in a specific world marketing consulting. Downtown offices. The kind of social circle where everyone has an MBA and an opinion about olive oil. Her apartment was decorated like a magazine. Her friends wore brands I had to look up. She carried herself with a polish I found attractive, but also, occasionally, made me feel too much, too loud, too Italian, too Dom adjacent. What if her parents were the same way? That was my actual fear. Driving north on I-79 the following Saturday morning in mid-September, I thought I was going to meet intimidating people who might not think I was good enough. Finding her parents hadn't required a private investigator. Just administrative boredom. By month 12, Claire had moved into a downtown condo my firm owns. Because we were getting married soon, our legal team needed her to sign on to the master lease. I was at my desk on a Friday when my office manager dropped the processed paperwork on my desk. I glanced at the state-issued ID she'd uploaded. Claire Marie Holloway. Not Whitmore. The name she used socially. Holloway. Out of idle curiosity, I ran a quick property search. A few clicks led to a dormant social media profile and an address on Birch Street in Erie. About 2 hours north. I told Claire I had a property walkthrough. She kissed me goodbye without looking up from her laptop. I got off the highway into Erie just before 11. Followed the GPS into a neighborhood of modest ranch homes. Clean streets. American flags. I found the house, a well-kept ranch, with a flower bed and wind chimes on the porch. In the front yard, moving slowly with a garden hose, was an older man in a Pittsburgh Pirates t-shirt, watering the flower bed with the patience of someone with nowhere more important to be. This is not what I pictured. I sat in the car 10 minutes, recalibrating everything. No gate. No luxury car. No indication these people had ever worried whether someone was good enough for anything. These are regular people. For one brief moment, I felt genuinely relieved. I got out, walked up the driveway. He noticed me and squinted the cautious way people do when a stranger approaches. "Help you with something, sir?" "You don't know me. My name is Tony Marchetti. I'm engaged to your daughter, Claire." Walter Holloway dropped the hose. Not fumbled it. Dropped it. Water pooled across the driveway as he stared at me, and his face crumbled not with anger, not with suspicion, with relief. With 2 years of accumulated grief finding somewhere to finally land. "Donna." His voice broke on her name. "Donna, come outside." And in that single moment, standing on a driveway in Erie, watching a retired firefighter try to collect himself, my entire understanding of the situation turned completely upside down. Inside the Holloway house, everything I thought I knew about Claire began coming apart. Quietly, over coffee and a plate of cookies Donna put out with shaking hands. The house was clean, modest, filled with Claire's school photos. A prom photo on the mantel. A graduation portrait where Walter and Donna stood beaming beside her. These were not the faces of abusive people. These were the faces of parents who missed their daughter. The story came out carefully. Walter was a retired firefighter. 28 years. Donna had been a hospital receptionist for most of Claire's childhood. They'd put her through Penn State full ride. No debt. When Claire moved to Pittsburgh and started building her corporate life, calls got shorter. Visits stopped. She started appearing in photos online under her middle name, Whitmore, with people Walter and Donna didn't recognize. Then came the wedding conversation. The $140,000 ask. Walter's heartbroken counteroffer of $22,000, everything they could give without destroying their retirement. Claire's response. "If you can't invest in my future, you're not part of it." Blocked that same night. Donna slid something across the table. A birthday card. Sealed. Unopened. Stamped return to sender in red. Claire's handwriting on the return address label. Their address. I stared at the red stamp, then pulled out my phone. I opened the text Claire had sent me the previous evening. The one that had prompted this drive. "Babe. Great news. I reached out to my parents. They finally apologized for everything and want to meet you for lunch before they head out on a trip." The kitchen went very quiet. Donna read it. Set it down gently. Said nothing. Walter looked out the window at the flower bed he'd been watering. I'd spent weeks worrying Claire's parents might look down on me. And they were here in a ranch house on Birch Street, with wind chimes and 2 years of unopened birthday cards. The person who decided someone wasn't good enough wasn't them. It was her. It had always been her. And just like that, the man who'd driven up nervous about making a good impression was gone. The man who drove back to Pittsburgh that afternoon was thinking about something else entirely. The difference between a good liar and a great one is that the great one never breaks character. I didn't confront her that night. I pulled into our parking garage a little past 2, sat in my car 10 minutes, and made a deliberate decision. Not yet. Not because I was afraid, but because I am my father's son. And he taught me something about the moment before a confrontation most people get wrong. Tony, the man who reacts first, almost never wins. Let them finish the lie. A half-told lie is just an argument. A fully told lie is a confession. I rode the elevator up. I could hear Claire inside. The low sound of a TV. I walked in. She was on the couch with a glass of white wine and her laptop open to a venue website. She looked up and smiled the way she always smiled. How was the walkthrough? Promising. Long drive. Though. You look tired. You want me to order something. I want you to explain why your mother's birthday card is sitting in a drawer in Erie. Unopened. With our return address on it. That's what I want. Sure, I said. Whatever you're in the mood for. I sat down next to her. She leaned her head briefly on my shoulder and went back to the venue photos. On the outside, completely normal. On the inside, dismantling everything. That night, I lay in the dark and built a timeline. The way I do with a complicated deal. Claire's real last name was Holloway. Her parents were alive. Present. Heartbroken. They'd offered her $22,000. Been told it wasn't enough. And been erased that same night. And Claire had texted me, while I sat in her parents' kitchen, that those same parents wanted to meet me for lunch, which meant there was someone she planned to bring. Who that was the question I fell asleep trying to answer. I didn't have to wait long. Over the next 3 days, I paid attention differently, not suspiciously. Didn't go through her phone. Didn't follow her. I just listened. The way you listen when you finally understand every conversation has been happening on 2 levels. And you've only heard one. I noticed she mentioned her boss. Gregory Sinclair. More than usual. Patricia Sinclair was at that same gala. Apparently. The kind of thing a person drops in when warming someone up to a name before it matters. I looked him up the following Tuesday. Door closed. Senior managing director at Claire's firm. A marketing consultancy downtown. Late 50s. Silver-haired. Effortlessly confident. His wife Patricia appeared in a society column 2 years prior, polished. A gold pendant at her collarbone. Exactly the kind of people you'd want beside you, convincing a traditional Italian-American family you came from somewhere impressive. There they are. I realized then Claire wasn't just a con artist. She was trapped in a prison of her own insecurity. She'd spent a decade reinventing herself, tailoring her identity to climb a ladder my family didn't care about, but her corporate friends did. When her father refused to destroy his retirement for a day of theater, their modesty threatened the polished illusion she'd sacrificed everything to build, to keep the lie alive. She had to erase them completely. Thursday morning, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder. Claire had added. Lunch. Gregory and Patricia. The Hardwick Room. Saturday. Bir, on, beş, p.m. A note underneath. Can't wait for you to finally meet them. Babe. This means everything to me. I thought about Donna pressing a sealed birthday card across a kitchen table. Yeah, I'll bet it does. I called my father that Thursday from my car in the parking structure below our building. I need to talk to you. Come to the house. 20 minutes later, I was at my parents' kitchen table in Mount Lebanon, the same table where Claire had charmed my mother. I laid it out eerie. Walter and Donna. The birthday card. The text. Gregory and Patricia. My father listened without interruption. When I finished, he said, "What do you need?" 4 words. No lecture. I need to go to this lunch. I need to build something bigger. He nodded slowly. And the Holloways. I'm going back to Erie after the lunch. I want to know if they're willing to be part of what comes next. And what comes next? A dinner. I said. A real one. With the right people in the room. He stood up. Straightened his jacket. I'll talk to your mother about the restaurant. That was the whole conversation. My mother's reaction was less contained. She'd been listening from the living room in our house. not eavesdropping. Just being present and stood in the doorway with the specific fury of an Italian mother who's fed someone her braciole and been lied to. She ate my food. Tony. In my house. I know. Ma. She walked over and put both hands on my face. You fix this, she said quietly. Not just for you. For them. Saturday came. The Hardwick Room. Downtown old money restaurant. Lighting designed to make everyone look slightly more important than they are. Claire made the reservation. I got there 5 minutes early. Seat facing the door. They arrived together. Claire in the middle. Arm looped through Gregory Sinclair's. Patricia on his other side. Claire was glowing. I stood. Big smile. Firm handshake. This is my dad. Gregory. And my mom. Patricia. Claire said, her voice warm with triumph. Gregory. Patricia. Not Walter. Not Donna. I've heard so much about you. Both of you. I'd heard nothing about them, because they hadn't existed in this role until about a week ago. We sat, and for the next 20 minutes, I watched Claire perform with a fluency I'd have found genuinely impressive under any other circumstance. She laughed at Gregory's observations a half-beat too quickly, referenced shared memories with Patricia, who tracked along carefully, like someone working from a half-memorized script. Gregory was smoother, asked me about the business, made appropriate comments about the market, acted like a man determined to be convincing. They were all performing. The whole table was a stage. So, Gregory, I said, setting my fork down, Claire's told me a lot about you. You've clearly been a huge presence in her life. She's been like family to us. Like family. There it is. That means everything, I said, looking at Claire when I said it. She beamed. Keep smiling. Sweetheart, I'll be honest with you both. I continued. My family's traditional Italian. We take the formal stuff seriously. We'd love to host an engagement dinner next Saturday. Nothing overwhelming, family. A good meal. A toast. My parents just need to welcome the people who matter to Claire before the altar. Gregory glanced at Patricia. A half-second of silent calculation. We'd be honored. Claire grabbed my hand under the table so fast I felt it in my shoulder. Perfect. I smiled at her. She smiled back, the full, radiant, triumphant smile of a woman who believes she's just won. The trap was already built. She just walked into it smiling. If you have been listening for a while, drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button while you're at it. And be sure you're subscribed. The following 6 days I moved quietly and precisely. Monday. I went back to Erie. Walter opened the door before I finished knocking. I told them about the lunch, the performance, the engagement dinner I'd arranged. I told them I wanted them there. Donna's hands went still around her mug. Tony, we don't want to make a scene. My mother is going to stand at a church and welcome whoever walks through those doors into our family. She deserves to know who that actually is. I paused. And you've spent 2 years sending birthday cards that came back unopened. You deserve to be in that room. Because you're her parents. And somebody needs to say that out loud. Walter covered Donna's hand with his. What time should we be there? Tuesday. I briefed my father and Uncle Dom fully. My father asked 2 precise questions. Then said, I'll handle the restaurant. Uncle Dom's response required immediate containment. I want to say something to her at the door. He grumbled. No. Dumb. Not one word until I stand up to make the toast. He chewed the inside of his cheek. Fine. But I want a double portion of calamari before anyone sits down. And I'm holding the door when we walk out. That I can get you. Every piece fell into place. Tavolo Rosso downtown. My father's choice. A restaurant that felt like someone's home, not a stage set. Private dining room. White linen. Candles. My mother handled the menu and added a small framed photo of my grandparents to the welcome table, because she said they should be there. Walter and Donna drove down from Erie Saturday morning, checking into a hotel near the river. Walter called Thursday night to confirm. At the end of the call, he said quietly, "Tony, whatever happens tomorrow, thank you for going to Erie, for knocking on that door." A pause. She picked a good one, even if she doesn't know it yet. I didn't know what to say to that. "I'll see you tomorrow." Walter. I pressed my suit Friday night. Got into bed next to Claire. Already asleep. Already dreaming about whatever version of tomorrow she'd constructed. I lay in the dark thinking about a man in a pirate's t-shirt watering a flower bed on Birch Street. A sealed birthday card with a red stamp. A kitchen table where two people had been quietly waiting 2 years for someone to show up. Someone had shown up. Tomorrow. So would they. You can build a lie as tall as you want. But the moment the right people walk through the door, the whole thing comes down. I woke up that Saturday morning in October with the kind of stillness that comes from certainty. Not peace. I lay there listening to Claire in the bathroom, the shower, the hairdryer, the rhythm of a woman preparing for a performance she believes she's already won. I thought about Walter pressing his navy blazer in a hotel room downtown, and Donna at a mirror trying to hold herself together. Two people who'd driven 2 hours for a dinner their own daughter had no idea they'd been invited to. Get up. Tony. Let's go finish this. Claire spent 3 hours getting ready. I sat in the living room watching football highlights with the volume low and let her have every minute of it. She came out twice to ask my opinion: earrings, then shoes, and both times I said she looked beautiful. Because she did. That was never the issue. The issue was everything underneath the beautiful. She wanted to leave early to check on the setup. I told her to go ahead, that I had a call to make, and I'd meet her there. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her coat, and walked out looking like everything in her life was exactly on track. The moment the door closed, I called Walter. He answered on the first ring. "You good? We're ready." Quiet. Solid. The voice of a man who decided something. Donna's dressed. We're ready. When I text you, you walk in. Doesn't matter what's happening at the table. Just walk in and stand there. You don't have to say a word. A pause. "Tony, she's going to see you the second that door opens." "I know. I just want you prepared." I've been prepared for 2 years. Since the night she blocked us. Every time Donna's birthday rolled around and we didn't get a call. A shorter pause. "We'll be there." I put on my jacket, checked my inside pocket for the ring, and walked out. Tavolo Rosso on a Saturday evening is exactly what it should be: warm. Full. The smell of garlic and rosemary meeting you at the door. But the private dining room in back runs on a different frequency. Quieter. Intentional. White linen. Low light. Round tables so everyone can see everyone else. My mother had been there since 3:30. When I walked in at 7, she was adjusting the centerpiece flowers with the focused energy of a woman who understood that the details of a room tell people how seriously you take them. She studied my face the way she studied it since I was old enough to have something to hide. "You okay?" "Yeah." You sure?" "I'm sure." She crossed the room, put both hands on my face. "Your grandfather," she said quietly, "used to say the truth always finds the biggest chair in the room, even when nobody invites it." She smoothed my collar. "Let it sit down tonight." I nearly lost it right there. My father was near the bar with Frankie Jr. already in his good charcoal suit, completely composed. One slow nod when I walked over. Everything is in place. Uncle Dom was at a side table with a full plate of calamari and the concentrated expression of a man fulfilling a solemn obligation. He pointed at the plate, then at me. I held up my end. Don't you forget yours. I almost smiled. They arrived at 7:30. I heard Claire's laugh in the hallway before the door opened, that specific social laugh. Half a note higher than her real one. The one she uses when she wants a room to feel like a party before she's even entered it. She came in first. Navy dress. Hair, perfect. Gregory Sinclair followed. Silver-haired. Expensive suit. Moving with the easy authority of a man who's never once doubted his right to be wherever he is. Patricia, beside him. Gracious. Gold pendant at her collarbone. Claire moved through that room like she owned it, kissed my mother on both cheeks, shook my father's hand with both of hers, laughed at something Patricia said and touched her arm warmly. She was magnificent. Genuinely, terrifyingly magnificent. She slipped her arm through mine, leaned up close. This is perfect. Your family is incredible. This is everything I wanted. I know, I said. That's why I did it. She heard a compliment. I meant something else entirely. We sat. The food came out, grilled branzino, veal chops, fresh bread wrapped in cloth. The table filled with the warm noise of a real family dinner. Gregory was smooth and engaged, asking my father about the business. Patricia complimented my mother on the restaurant choice, and my mother received it graciously while privately thinking thoughts I'll never know. Claire was glowing, relaxed, victorious. I ate, laughed at the right moments, refilled glasses, and was, by every visible measure, a completely relaxed man, enjoying a family dinner. My phone was face down in my jacket pocket. I had one text to send. I was waiting for the right moment. That moment came at 8:15. In the small lull between the main course and whatever came next. Claire was mid-laugh at something Gregory had said. I slipped my phone out, typed one word to Walter. Now. Then I stood up. The tap of a knife against a glass. That clean sound that tells a room, stop. Listen. Claire looked up at me with that full, radiant smile, the smile of a woman who thinks the next 60 seconds are a toast about how much I love her. I let the silence hold a beat longer than comfortable. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. My voice was calm, measured, the way my father talks when something actually matters. In our family, a dinner like this isn't just a nice evening. It's a declaration these people are real. These people matter. We don't do that lightly. I looked around the table. My father taught me the people you bring to the table tell everyone exactly who you are. So, I want to make sure tonight we have the right people at this table. I looked at Marco, the restaurant manager, near the back wall. He'd been briefed. He walked to the side door and pushed it open. And in walked Walter and Donna Holloway. Walter in his navy blazer, the one that didn't quite fit anymore, saved for occasions that mattered. Donna in a burgundy dress, small purse clutched in both hands, chin up, moving with the quiet dignity of a woman who decided she wasn't going to fall apart in public no matter what happened next. They walked into the silence of that room, and Claire saw them. I was watching her face. The color left it like a tide going out fast. Complete. Absolute. Her lips parted. Her hand, holding her wine glass, went completely still. The glass tilted. I reached over without looking at her and steadied it. Set it down on the linen. She turned to me, eyes doing the rapid calculation of someone trying to find the story that saves them. I could see it happening in real time, the search for the exit. The angle. The version of this she could still control. Tony. Her voice came out thin. Barely a voice at all. I went to Erie, I said quietly. Not performing for the room. Talking to her 3 weeks ago. I drove up I-79 on a Saturday morning because I told myself, maybe I can fix this for her. Maybe I can give her her family back as a wedding gift. I let that land. I found a man watering his flower bed on Birch Street in a Pittsburgh Pirates t-shirt. I told him my name, and he dropped the garden hose. The room was a held breath. Your father worked as a firefighter for 28 years. Claire. Your mother was a hospital receptionist for most of your childhood. They put you through Penn State. And they did it without a single dollar of debt. Because they wanted you to have everything. My voice stayed level. They offered you $22,000 money from their retirement, and you told them that if they couldn't fund your life, they didn't exist. Her mouth opened. You don't understand the whole. I sat in their kitchen. I said, like a door closing. I saw your school photos on the refrigerator. I held the birthday card you mailed back to our address without opening it. I paused. And while I was sitting there, you texted me. Told me your parents had apologized and wanted to meet me for lunch. I turned to Gregory and Patricia Sinclair. Patricia had both hands pressed flat on the table, her face completely pale. Gregory had gone absolutely still. Gregory. Patricia. My voice shifted to something quiet and respectful. I know exactly what she told you. That my family was deeply judgmental. That her real parents had passed away years ago. And she asked you to step in as her honorary family mentors so she wouldn't have to face a traditional Italian wedding alone. She weaponized your kindness and your status to fill 2 empty chairs on a stage. I gestured toward Walter and Donna. But those are her real parents right there. Patricia looked at Claire a long, slow look. The kind that doesn't need words. Then at Walter and Donna. And something moved across her face, far worse than anger. Recognition. The specific recognition of a woman who's just understood the person she thought she knew does not exist. Gregory said nothing. He folded his napkin, placed it on the table, the gesture of a man who is leaving and has decided there's nothing worth saying first. I turned back to Claire one final time. She'd stopped looking for the exit. There wasn't one. And she knew it. She was just looking at me. Eyes bright. Jaw tight. The full architecture of everything she'd built reflected back at her from every face in that room. I grew up watching my father treat people, all people, like they mattered. The guy who parks the car. The retired firefighter in Erie who gives everything he has and gets told it's not enough. I reached into my jacket pocket. That's the measure I was raised with. Not the address. Not the job title. I looked at her. By that measure, I don't know who you are. I took the ring out and set it on the white linen in front of her. Not thrown. Not dramatic. Just placed. Quietly. The way you set something down when you've been carrying it too long, and you're finally ready to put it down for good. Then I picked up the floral centerpiece white flowers, my mother's choice, and walked across the room to where Donna was standing. She was fighting it, breathing short and careful. The way people breathe when holding something enormous they cannot afford to drop in public. I held the flowers out. She looked at them, looked at me, and then Donna Holloway, who'd driven 2 hours from Erie and held her chin up through the hardest walk of her life, took the flowers and came completely apart. Not loudly. The quiet kind. The kind that comes from 2 years of accumulated grief, finally finding somewhere to go. Walter had his arm around her before the first sound left her. His jaw was tight. His eyes wet. He pulled her in, looked at me over the top of her head, and then did something I didn't expect. Stepped forward, 1 step. Donna still tucked under his arm, and extended his free hand to me. I shook it. He gripped it hard, The grip of a man saying something his voice couldn't quite carry yet. My father was beside me. I don't know exactly when he moved. Sal Marchetti materializes when it matters. He looked at Walter a moment, then stepped forward and extended his hand. I'm Saul. I should have met you a long time ago. I'm sorry for that. Walter shook it. Swallowed once. Walter. A breath. Thank you for raising a man like that. My father looked at me sideways. Just for a second. Just long enough. In 36 years. That's the proudest I have ever seen him look. My mother didn't shake Donna's hand. She pulled her into a full embrace. Unconditional. The way Italian mothers hold people who need to be held. We walked out together. The Marchettis and the Holloways. My mother's arm linked through Donna's. My father and Walter walking side by side with the quiet ease of two men who'd just recognized something in each other. Frankie Jr. holding doors. Uncle Dom bringing up the rear. Turning back, just once, at the main door. I looked back too. Claire was sitting at the center of that table, in her perfect dress. In her perfectly constructed life. The ring on the linen in front of her. The centerpiece gone. Gregory and Patricia stood at the far end of the room. Patricia with her coat already on. Gregory's hand at the small of her back. Neither looking in Claire's direction. Her friends, the polished crowd she'd curated and built her second identity around, sat with the discomfort of people who've just witnessed something they cannot unknow. Nobody went to her. Nobody pulled her aside. Nobody offered a version of events that made it better. There were no more parts available. The whole cast had walked out. She just sat there. Seen. Completely. Finally. Irreversibly seen. Uncle Dom looked at her a long moment. Shook his head once. Slow. Almost sad. And let the door close behind him. Outside. October air. Cool and clean. Downtown Pittsburgh moving around us like it had no idea what had just happened inside. I stood next to my father and breathed. He put his hand on the back of my neck. The thing he's done since I was a kid. Your grandfather would have done the same thing. That was all he said. Across the sidewalk. Walter was looking up at the skyline with Donna tucked under his arm. The white flowers still in her hands. Walter caught me looking. He nodded once, not a thank you nod. Something that didn't have a word for it. I nodded back. Some deals you close for profit. Some you close because there's no version of yourself you can live with that walks away from the table. That night I closed the most important deal of my life. And I didn't make a single dollar. Some women lie to erase the people who love them. She built a whole life on top of that eraser. And on a Saturday night in October, in a private dining room at Tavolo Rosso in downtown Pittsburgh, every single floor of it came down. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll see you on the next one.